Hey guys, before you continue watching this video, I just wanted to give y'all a heads up. This video does contain spoilers. I do talk about different scenarios and details about this book. If you have not read it and do not want spoilers, please go ahead and click off the video now. But if you are okay with them, then go ahead and continue watching the video. Thank you again. Love ya.
Is that a feather on your nose? Was it? That's funny. What did you get into? You're welcome. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Elena for those who don't know, and for those who do know, welcome back. I hope you guys are having a lovely day. For today's video, you probably saw the title already, but I'm going to be attempting to read a book in 24 hours. Yes, you heard me, 24 hours. Now mind you,
Elena, 24 hours is not a lot. I can finish a book in 24 hours.
well, good for you. To be fair, I never really picked up a book and read it consistently by choice since probably middle school, and I just got into reading probably about 2 months ago. Somewhere in November, I decided to read a book and I actually enjoyed it, and so I want to continue reading more books. Normally when I do read a book, it'll take me about maybe a month to finish, but that's because I'm usually busy with some other personal projects and stuff. And I was thinking, after reading about 3 books so far the past like 2 months, that why don't I attempt to read a book start to finish in 24 hours. I believe that's such a fun challenge, especially for me. I just actually got this book. It does not belong to me. It actually belongs to my boyfriend's mom's student, so she's allowing me to read it. Thank you to that student. Probably not even watching this, nor do you know me, but I appreciate you letting me borrow the book. I've been reading a lot of Coho's books. I just finished her book, It Ends With Us, and boy, this like made me tear. It was such a good book. I really highly recommend it. The last book I read of hers was November 9th, and that was good, but after reading this is my favorite so far. Now, since I get to read It Starts With Us, this is basically just a sequel to this book. If you haven't read this book, it's just basically about a girl named Lily, where she had a past life and she meets a new guy in her 20s named Ryle, and they hit it off. They go through a lot of bumps in the road. There's marriage, there's divorce, there's abuse. So before you do decide to read this book, there are some triggers, so look into it before you get to purchase it and read it. But if you're okay and the triggers are not going to bother you, I recommend reading this book. It was such a roller coaster. It hit my emotions. I did not expect to see how it ended the way it ended, but I'm actually happy with the way it ended. But this is not a summary about this book, okay? I'm just saying I highly recommend this book. Read it if you can. But now it's time to read the sequel. This book is about Lily still, and this is about her past life and her past love. Basically her first love. He was mentioned in this book, of course, but this book is actually going into more depth about him and then how their relationship in his past. So I'm actually looking forward to see how this goes. It's about the same amount of pages as that, about 300 pages or so. The first thing I'm gonna do is time myself to see how long it takes me to read the first chapter, and then I'll kind of go based off of how many hours it'll probably take me to finish the book. And along the way, I'll probably update like every 2 hours, every 2 chapters on what's happening, where my emotions are, how I'm feeling. Right now, it's currently 10:38, meaning I have until 10:30 tomorrow morning to finish this whole book. That will be 24 hours. I'm excited. So then we are gonna go ahead and start the first chapter. It Starts With Us. it took me 5 minutes to read the first chapter. It wasn't a lot. It was only like 2 pages. I'm gonna actually go ahead and finish reading chapter 2 and then see how long it takes me to read those 2 chapters. And I'll probably go based off of that time and see how long maybe this book will take me.
A few minutes later.
So I just finished chapter 2 right now, and it took me a total of 18 minutes, so almost 20 minutes to finish 2 chapters. I'm on page 16, so if I can, I could probably finish this book within 15 hours, or to put it that way. So I'm gonna read up to chapter 10 and see where that takes me. Okay, so I just finished chapter 5. It took me about 40 minutes just to read 5 chapters, which isn't too bad. I'm on page 32 so far. So what I've read is that this book is in 2 different perspectives. It switches from Atlas' perspective and then it switches to Lily's perspective. The main thing of this book is basically Lily and Atlas trying to figure out whether they're gonna get back together or not. Lily's still debating because of Riles, and Riles still has hope and love for Lily, hoping that she would go back to him.
Nope.
Is what I'm reading so far. She just has her reasonings on why she doesn't want to, so she's just trying to set these boundaries so far with him to understand, like, hey, this isn't happening. Atlas is going through a series of break-in and vandalism towards his restaurants. And finally, his mom has called him after like so many years, after her not wanting to deal with him and making him homeless at the age of 17. So that just happened too. I'm gonna continue reading and update you when I get to chapter 10. I realized as I continue reading this book, Atlas has a friend, a best friend actually, who has a son who's 12, and he kind of like semi-helps around the kitchen while the dad works, and he tells Atlas that he wants to be a therapist. So it's kind of cute and funny that Atlas actually talks to the 12-year-old about like his love life problems to get advice, and it's just funny because the little kid is so sarcastic, but he's kind of helping. So this is actually adorable. I like that character. I'm pretty glad that he's like implemented into it. Oh, by the way, the 12-year-old is named Theo, so he's pretty kooky. I like it. Someone's asleep on the floor. Oh my goodness, my handsome papa is just tired. I'm pretty much sitting in the same place that I have been for the last hour and a half, but I just finished chapter 10 and it took me an hour and 30 minutes to do it, which surprisingly, that was pretty quick. I was surprised. Atlas has finally asked Lily out on a date. It is about time. Atlas is still trying to figure out the whole vandalism towards his restaurants. Lily's obviously dealing with motherhood still. Theo finally saw a photo of Lily because he's been wanting to see one, so he got to see that. Theo also likes someone, which is cute, and it's not a girl. It seems like he likes a boy, so I'm pretty sure we're gonna get to find out more about that in the book. So right now Lily's just basically dropping off her daughter at her friend Lissa's place to go on her date. So that's pretty much where I left off so far. Every time I read Coho's books, it's so intriguing. I get caught in the story and I really enjoy the characters, but I think what I find the most intriguing in her books is the sarcasm and the flirting when it comes between 2 characters or multiple characters, depending on how the story goes. It's like a sarcasm type of flirtation. They're constantly playing hard to get, but they know like they're getting each other. Like obviously they're gonna go out and they like each other and that sort. It's really the only type of flirtation you probably see in movies. Having to read it and then kind of picture it in your head is really fun. It makes me laugh. I just finished reading chapter 15. I'm almost about halfway through the book. So far where I've learned is that Atlas and Lily finally was able to go on a date. Atlas also got to read 2 of Lily's journals, getting to like see her perspective and from her point of view of how things went when they were younger. And then Lily ended up reading a letter from Atlas. He got to talk about a little bit more of his past life and why he does not have the best relationship with his mom. And it's really sad to hear on how like he was treated by his mom and not to feel love. It really broke my heart because I'm not gonna lie, I felt similar in a way with him in this book. His situation with his mother and trying to grab the attention and everything reminded me of my own relationship with my mom, so I kind of felt a level with Atlas, and so I feel for him. Even though he's just a fictional character in a book. It's fun when you connect with characters though, so I've been enjoying it. There's still some other things that Lily's still dealing with. Riles still doesn't know boundaries. After reading about him in the first book, he was great at first. I did like him, and then I realized he was a fuckboy, and now I realize he's just a terrible person. Atlas' mother pretty much came to the restaurant to talk to her, and there is now a whole thing where now he has a brother that he didn't even know he had, a younger brother. All of this is actually tying in with the vandalism to the restaurant as well. It's all a correlation to each other, which is crazy. I mean, Coho's books does that a lot. I've noticed that there's these little situations and problems that kind of arise, but later as you start reading the book, but the more you start reading the book, you start seeing these clues and how they match up, and it's like, oh, I think this is the person that is doing it, or this situation's gonna happen, or this is the reason why. And you kind of start putting it together, and then kind of like in the end you kind of like, oh wow, no, that is true. He actually got to meet his little brother. I just finished the chapter right now, and I'm gonna still get to continue to see how that relationship works between Atlas and his brother. By the way, his little brother's name is Josh, and he's a 12-year-old.
Good evening, everyone. The highlights of the news this Thursday. Traffic accidents. Run. A Beaver County man is being held for murder. And more labor.
Ace. It took me another hour and a half to read a couple more chapters. I think I read about maybe 5. I just finished chapter 20. I don't know what I updated you on the last time. Atlas did tell his mother about Josh and how he found him. If you hear any weird sounds, it's because Ace is chewing on a toy right now. You can't see it. It's happening, I swear. There was a little bit of violence, so Atlas ended up taking Josh back, and so he's trying to talk to a lawyer to see if he can figure out a solution to this problem and see if Josh can't live with their mother anymore, because the mother fucking sucks. I will say that, and Josh doesn't want to live with her either. Lily finally talks to Alyssa about Atlas and everything, and she finally invited Atlas to the wedding, so they're going to that. Just some other things. Theo, which is the therapist for Atlas, actually goes to the same school as Josh, because Atlas ended up enrolling Josh to a school closer to where the city is. At least Josh now has like someone else's age that he can talk to and hang out to, so we don't still know a lot about Josh, just knowing that he has a shitty life like what Atlas had. I'm at the point where they're just leaving for the You good? Cool. I'm at the point now where they're leaving for the wedding, Atlas remembers about a certain like tattoo, and she finally explains to him the last 3 like fights that her and Raoul's got in, and he's now understanding like what happened, and he's feeling so much guilt and anger at the same time. But Lily obviously like reminds him like even though he was not there, he was there to help her get through it. So yeah, I finished this much, and this is as much as I need to go. So I'm already halfway through this book. I actually don't know how long it's been taking me. Let me go check. I'm 7 hours in so far since I started reading this book. Not bad, not bad. It's currently 12:37 right now at night. It's pretty late, and I finally finished reading the book. I started timing of how long it has taken me to finish reading this book. Now, I started this book 13 hours ago. Mind you, it didn't take me 13 hours to fully read it. I said give or take, it probably took me maybe 10 hours to finish, maybe a little less. From where I last left off, I realized that this book has basically been mostly about not only Lily's and Atlas' love life and coming back together, and them growing as people and realizing their past and learning from it. This was also a way for Atlas being able to get to know more of his brother and actually being able to be there for his brother more than he was even able to have for himself growing up besides Lily. So it was really sweet to see that bond, and that Atlas got to actually get kind of custody of his brother, and it was actually nice to see Atlas being able to take care of his brother more than what his mom can provide based off the book. And two, the fact, and also like as I read more into the book and getting to know Raoul more, I dislike him so much. I'm so glad that Lily told him he needed anger management classes, because yes, he did need it. But yeah, I'm super happy that Raoul's actually getting the help that he needs. He's actually being cooperative in this book. This book is definitely not as dramatic as it ends with us. This really did have me on an emotional roller coaster, like I said, but this was such like a light-hearted ending to see how the relationship between Lily and Atlas actually ends, and I was very satisfied with it. Now, if I were to rate this out of 5 right now, I would say probably about maybe a 4 out of 5. I really did enjoy the book. It had some good writing to it. I enjoyed the characters and the sarcasm in it, but I will say at some points, like, not that I necessarily got bored, but I was like, oh, okay, there was just not as much as like heat and tension and like drama as there was in this book. I never really actually rated this book, but I did give this book probably a 5 out of 5. It was really good. It was really fun challenging myself to finish this book in 24 hours. This actually is the first time I ever read a book in 24 hours. Normally it takes me about a month to read, but I will say towards the end of the night, I did get pretty tired. Highly recommend these 2 books or anything by Coho. Highly recommend her. Not a lot of people like her, but if you're someone who has not been reading for a while or doesn't really enjoy reading, I recommend some of her books just because they're super easy to read. They catch you like this, and I think they're great starters if you're trying to get back into reading. I hope you guys enjoyed this type of video, and if you guys did, please let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, because I would love to do them for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will go ahead and see you guys the next time. I love you guys.